Greetings and welcome to another edition of ComSports. Welcome to everybody to another edition of ComSports. As always, I'm your host Kwame Fisher-Jones, and joining me today on this panel of unparalleled, unapologetic diatribe is
Daniel Trowick, Sportshound, sportshoundblog.com, and a host of Sports Trap Radio.
Brandon Pemberton from Brandon on Sports.me and co-host of Sports Trap Radio.
OJ Spivey, 900 AM WURD Radio.
And as always, I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. And today we're going to jump out. Well, we had a show, episode 3, which I'm sure you've all checked out. If not, make sure you go to the website, .comsports.tv, and check it out. Episode 3 was dedicated specifically to the draft, all NFL draft. You recognize Brandon and his angry face. But there were a couple picks that were made once we went off air. So I'm going to throw it back to Brandon, and I'm going to ask you a simple question. And I would like a very unsimple answer. Matt Barkley is now Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that he was the best player on the board at the time. In 2012, he would have been a top 10 pick.
All right, hold on. Okay. In the production meeting, Brandon was all in it. He was screaming. He was like, pick doesn't matter. He gave me somebody else that mattered. So we're going to rewind and come back to you. All right, the Eagles draft Matt Barkley. What's going through your mind?
When they drafted Matt Barkley, I was pretty happy about it.
Okay.
I mean, I always been a fan of his. A lot of people misconstrue him not having a strong arm as not being a good quarterback. One of the bigger overrated things when you scout a quarterback, everybody's saying, "Oh, well, he don't have an elite arm. He can't throw hard." Well, Drew Henson threw the ball hard too, but couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a pound of rice. Matt Barkley anticipates throws. He throws the ball on time. He's been in a pro system for 4 years. So, of any of the quarterbacks in this whole quarterback class in 2013, he might be the one that's most prepared to come in and play, in my opinion. Not to say that he's going to be the starter, but if Chip Kelly has an open competition, he's going to be good competition for Vic and Foles.
I'm going to come to you in a second, Daniel. I want to jump on. I want to jump one more comment, Brandon, here. Once the draft is all said and done, 5 years from now, will Matt Barkley be the most famous or infamous pick of the Eagles?
Infamous or famous? You know what? I say he might be the most famous quarterback because I think in 2 years he might be the starting quarterback for this team, if not at some point this year.
What did you think of the pick, Daniel?
I honestly like the pick because, in the 4th round, it's all value at that point. Mm-hmm. And, the Eagles had a need for quarterback, and many said they were high on E.J. Manuel. Mm-hmm. And he
went in the first round.
So, in the 4th round, Matt Barkley, he has a skill set. He's not what everybody thinks Chip Kelly's offense is going to resemble, but Chip Kelly said more than once that he's going to tailor his offense around the players that he has. So I like the pick, especially in the 4th round, and I like the move that they did to go up and get him instead of waiting, hoping he would be there for him.
You see, I didn't even want to talk about it because I felt like no one knows exactly what Chip Kelly is going to do. Mm-hmm, so right. to say, this is this type of quarterback or this is a good pick or not, you don't know what he's going to do. I mean, as of right now, we have more tight ends we have as many tight ends as we do tackles on the roster. So you don't know which direction he's going to go. So I kind of think we should all take a step back, look at the totality. Like you were talking about Porter or Ponder.
Jordan
Poyer. See, irrelevant to me. I mean, the quarterback is what makes the money. The quarterback is what gets everybody's back here to stand up. So that's why I asked you, was he going to be the most infamous or famous? Because no one's going to remember. If Lane Johnson is the best tackle in the world, nobody's going to talk about him. If he's the worst tackle in the world, if he's Antone Davis, Bernard Williams reincarnated, we still won't really care because at the end of the day, it's going to be, did Michael Vick hold on to the ball? Should Matt Barkley play? What are we doing with Nick Foles? Those are going to be the top questions. So I really didn't want to go to it, but you got in such a tizzy that I figured I would talk about it. All right, now, OJ. Tim Tebow was released. My man, Tim Tebow. I'm a Tim Tebow dude. Because I think it's great to watch a guy kneel, before each play. But Tim Tebow was released. A quarterback that can't throw.
Right.
Quarterback that can't. We got a quarterback can't read the defense, but he can throw.
There you go.
What's next for Tim Tebow, the non-throwing quarterback?
A couple things. Most, in all likelihood, he'll probably land with the team in the CFL, if not Arena League.
Wow.
But I do think there's an outside chance that he'll latch on with the NFL team. A lot of people are saying New England. But again, I still think Tim Tebow can be serviceable depending on the position, depending on the situation in the NFL. So if a coach is bold enough, smart enough, to use him in the right way.
What's the right way for a quarterback that can't throw? Seriously, and I'm not trying to be facetious when I say this. What's the right way for a quarterback that can't throw?
Well, you don't use him as a quarterback primarily.
Put him on the field.
Yeah, you just put him on the field.
He's a football
Put him
player.
at tight end. Put him at goal line.
Is he a football player?
He can at
He's a
least
football
run.
player.
He's a football player, right?
He's definitely
at least
a
put him on the
football
goal
player.
line. Look, as bad as the Jets were, as bad as they were offensively, you mean to tell me they couldn't put him on the field inside the 5?
As bad as they were, they didn't put him on the field. That makes you wonder, how bad is he?
Well, how bad is Rex Ryan?
I beg to differ. If you go to a prom and you got a bunch of ugly women,
he's a defensive guy anyway, so he's going to be a little bit offensively challenged.
I disagree with that too. If I'm a defensive dude, I know the type of guy that presents a challenge for me. So I would think he would have wanted to go with Tim Tebow at some point. I like Tim Tebow more because he's entertaining than he is as a no, seriously, because
so as a football player.
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't think that he's this quote great football player. I don't think he's an impact.
Nobody's saying that he's great, but I'm saying if you're gonna have him on a roster, you may as well try to utilize him. It was just a waste.
Number 1 on the roster, number 99 in our number 1 in our heart, number 99 on the roster. All right,
There you go.
one more question about the Jets, and then it's Sanchez. Now, should they have traded? Should they have released? What should they have done with Sanchez? I'm going to go to you, Daniel, for this one. What should they have done with Sanchez? They've released Tebow. They've got Garrard in. They've got Geno Smith in. What should they do with Mark Sanchez?
Right now, I think they need to trade him. That's the best option. I mean, they could go through camp and see what he has.
Can you get anything for Sanchez?
Yeah, you could get something. You could
You
get
get
a
Tim
late round
Tebow,
pick.
right?
Not at that price.
You could get a late round pick. He has a high contract. So if they release him, nobody's going to claim him off of waivers and pay his contract.
What's the point of a late round pick for a dude though? I always laugh at that. It's funny people say you can get a late round pick for him. What the hell does that mean? Like, is that just trying to save face?
I mean, it's better than the second round for AJ Philly to me.
Yeah, but they thought AJ Philly could play. If you bring in Mark Sanchez, you know.
Or
You
a seventh rounder from Asante Samuel.
You know exactly. It's like, what's the point? It seems like you're just trying to be a pissant. All right, that's one. That was pretty much it. I didn't want to talk about anything else. But then in the production meeting, we started talking about another one of my favorite people in the NFL, Jerry Jones. Now I'm going to go back to you on this one, Brandon, and let me set the topic for you. Jerry Jones says Romo will spend Peyton Manning type time on the job this season.
He will. He wants him to.
No, he said he will. But that's not the question. The question is, what difference will it make? And welcome back to ComSports. Before we went to break, I asked Brandon about Jerry Jones. And I'm going to go right back to you, Brandon. I'm going to repeat the question. You're laughing already. What difference will it make if Tony Romo spends Peyton Manning type hours on the job?
It's not going to make any kind of difference. He plays good in the regular season. He plays bad in the playoffs. So, I mean, honestly, what difference is it really going to make? He doesn't have a problem making throws. He doesn't have a problem making the right throws. He has a problem making the right throws in the clutch plays in big games.
The right read, the right throws, the people staying healthy, wide receivers running the same route, running the right routes. It seems to be the Cowboys are a litany of problems, and like everybody wants to throw the ball at Romo. I remember someone said, and a person should remain nameless, said that Michael Vick was better than Tony Romo. And I thought, first of all, I thought that was a funny comparison because neither one of them have produced in the playoffs when it matters. Most of them. Vic is still living off the Lambeau achievement, and Romo's still living off of beating the Eagles pretty much in his 4,000-yard seasons. But if he's to spend that much time in the gym, All right, let's say he spends that much time in there. And let's say they come back and they have a lights-out season that year. The question is, what the hell took him so long? Why at this point did it become paramount? What did he get, $60 million? You know, an opportunity to be on the cover of Madden? Like, what was paramount to him to take the step front and to say, I'm going to spend those amount of hours in it? Is his job on the line? Is that what it could be? His job is on the line this season?
I mean, he just got a contract, so I wouldn't say his job is on the line. At this point, Romo is what he is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's not getting any better. He's not
going to get any worse.
It's at this point, he's still at the point where he's in his prime. He probably got another 2, possibly 3 years at this level. Okay. The next step for him is to win big games in the playoffs. That's all that he needs to do at this point is win big games. He's thrown for 4,000 yards. He's thrown for 30 touchdowns. You know what I mean? He completes 65, 66% of his passes. We all seen all that in the regular season. But can you play in the biggest games and get the job done?
All right. Best pick of the draft.
Any team?
Any team. Well, we know the Eagles' best pick was Matt Barkley per Brandon, but outside of that, best pick of the draft.
For me, best pick of the draft, I would have to go with Jarvis Jones to the Steelers. He is a Steelers linebacker, and to me, he was the best player in the draft. But, you know, the health concerns caused him to drop down the board, and he's going to produce, and he's going to be a famous Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker, and his name is going to be infamous forever.
Best pick of the draft.
Keenan Allen for the Chargers.
Who?
Third round pick, was top 10 talent in this draft. Dropped down the board because he ran a 4.78 40 once again.
What position is he playing?
Wide receiver.
Best wide receiver
From
in the
Cal.
draft.
All right, I'm not Mel Kiper. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know this dude offhand. You know, my draft was E.J. Manuel, Matt Barkley, and Geno Smith. Danny Lacy, because I saw a special on him beforehand. All right, so a wide receiver went to San Diego.
Yeah, 78th pick.
Okay.
Third round pick. Should have been a first round wide receiver. Should have been the first wide receiver taken.
Okay. Best pick of the draft.
Geno Smith, quarterback, New York Jets. He's going to take over from Mark Sanchez. Middle of the season. Yep.
You're opening a whole new can of worms.
Middle of the season, if not earlier, and they're going to love him up there in New York. He's going to do a lot better than people think than all the.
Tell the people in the camera because it sounds like you're trying to convince me.
But no, it's going to be Geno Smith, quarterback, New York Jets.
Is Geno Smith tough? Is Geno Smith tough enough for New York?
Yeah, I think he's tough enough. He's got to be tougher than Mark Sanchez, right?
That's not saying much, though. No. Mark Sanchez is chopstick tough. I mean, that doesn't mean much.
Oh, yeah, well, that tells you he's going to be tough.
You don't have any red flags about him waffling about I don't want to go to the draft because I didn't get picked. Okay, it's backlash. I'm gonna go to the draft. He gets interviewed. You know,
did Aaron Rodgers feel that way?
And now
I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
But Aaron Rodgers didn't waffle.
I can't take any stock on the camera being in your face for 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Tonight. Can't take any stock in that.
All right. Okay,
I'm going to judge him on the field.
Now, we were going to go to break, but I want to rub this for a second. Geno Smith is interviewed after he's drafted.
Right.
And it was an ESPN interview. And they asked him, first question was, you drafted to the Jets, how do you feel? You know, typical stuff. And he says, and I quote, I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to the future.
Right.
5 questions later, they ask him, you know where I'm going with this because you know what he said. They asked him, the reporter asked him, he said, okay, so are you looking forward to taking Mark Sanchez's position? What are you trying to do? He says, well, I'm not worried about the future. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm just focusing on the present. Same interview, less than 4 minutes later. That's the issue I've had with Geno Smith. At some point, these have to grow and drop, and you got to say how you feel. You can't be robotic, especially in New York. They will eat you alive in New York.
That's true, but again, he's a rookie. What's he supposed to say?
He's a man now. Yeah. He's a man now.
Yeah, he's a man, but he's still a rookie.
Eli Manning told them on draft day, San Diego's on line 1, I'm good. I'm not picking up. And they killed Eli for it.
And he should have been at the time.
But you know what he did? He stood up and said, I'm a man. I'm not going to San Diego.
Yeah.
Now,
are you a man or are you baby?
And you can say he's a baby, but
2 Super Bowls, he's a grown man.
About to say, he was a grown man.
Hindsight is 2020, though.
But that type of
and nobody expected Eli Manning to win 2 Super Bowls, let alone 1.
I did.
He was the number 1 pick for a reason.
No, I didn't. When Jerome McDougal laid him out and he got up and was ready for the next
Jeremiah
play.
Trotter too. Yeah.
And
he's taking a beating, and
that's
every
the big
time he's
telling
not right.
thing.
Exactly.
We talked about
he's
that.
Probably the toughest in the league.
When the quarterback is willing, like when you
Right.
get to the NFL and you willing to take that shot in the mouth, the hardest hit that you've ever taken,
And get
and
up.
you willing to get back up
And not point a finger.
and keep making throws, you're going to last in this league. Rick Meyer was the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Played great year 1. He got knocked around year 2 and didn't want no parts of it after that.
Yeah,
None.
Eli Manning's never complained, and you look at all those
Never
shots he
points a
took
finger,
all those shots he took in that NFC Championship game a couple of
Wow,
years ago.
that was epic.
I don't know if any man could have got up from that.
Yeah.
Geno Smith is embarking on that because he doesn't have any weapons. David Tyree is not walking through that door.
They screwed Geno Smith after they drafted him by not, even prior to him getting drafted. Remember we had talked about them drafting the corner from Bama and then Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah.
Well, one of those 2 picks, you could have got an offensive weapon, and then still, later on, you would have got Geno Smith. The Jets' offense stinks.
It looks like they didn't have a plan, and that's why I bring you there. I take you there to bring you here. At the end of the day, and we're going to go to break in a second. At the end of the day, the question's going to remain for Geno Smith. It's not on the field for him, and I pulled for him. Pre-draft, I pulled for him. I brought in pundits who I felt would be critical, and I would challenge them on it. But the issue with Geno Smith was toughness, and at some point, that testicular fortitude has never reared its head. And I brought up Eli Manning because Eli Manning walked in day 1. This is what I do. I'm not going there. I'm going here. Let the chips fall where they may when I get there. All right, on that note, that's it for the NFL section. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little NBA. We're going to talk about Russell Westbrook. Maybe we'll talk about how to fix the Sixers. We'll definitely talk about Russell Westbrook. Stay tuned. And welcome back to ComSports. Once again, your host Kwame Fisher-Jones. Now, we're going to sadly go to the Sixers for a moment. Now, I in true full disclosure, true confession, I am a diehard Sixers fan. My father, I told you this story. My father's high school time capsule was buried at the Spectrum. So I am die Sixers to the end. The Sixers are a mess. Front office first. Now, I had a list prepared for general managers that I wanted to come in and take control of the Sixers reins. But I felt like you guys would be looking at me kind of like the way you are now. Like, who the hell is that? So we're going to talk about coaches. But Daniel had an interesting comment during the break. Why don't you go ahead and repeat your comment regarding general managers?
Well, me personally, I think the best general manager in the NBA is Daryl Morey for the Rockets. And, he did that surprising move and brought in James Harden last season. I think he's going to do another big move and bring in Dwight Howard this season.
And another move that he made that goes under the radar because he didn't make the move for on the court production. He made it for the seats, and that was bringing in Jeremy Lin. That was a great move, and a lot of people thought he overpaid for Jeremy Lin. Well, when you go to Houston, you go to any playground, you're gonna see an influx of Asian basketball players.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it be Chinese, Japanese,
Korean.
Vietnamese, exactly.
He capitalized on the Yao Ming era. So
exactly.
Smart move.
Yep.
Exactly. So
contingent.
I actually want him. Houston's not gonna let him go. They're not gonna let him. He's in train. He's been there almost 15 years now. However, they have a director of player personnel whose name escapes me. That's the type of person I want. The Sixers need a general manager who can not only delegate authority, you're laughing, but who knows there's always room for no. When the coach comes in, because every coach is going to want his player. So if a coach comes in and says, I want Kwame Brown, what do you say, OJ?
No.
If a coach comes in and says, I want Nick Young, what do you say?
No, he's a loser.
If he says, I want Spencer Hawes, what do you say?
It depends.
See? Everybody's trying to be funny. So I always want to be funny. But there's always room for no.
Right.
So that's the type of general manager they need. Someone who's not afraid to tell whomever it is. And I thought it was funny when people, and I'm gonna get into a question in a minute. But I thought it was funny when people said, well, Doug Collins ran his team. No, he didn't. Tony DeLeo collected a check as a general manager. Therefore, that benunce to me means I run this here. Yeah. And I'm that on the nan. You're not gonna tell me what I'm gonna do. I don't want Kwame Brown on my team. For those who've seen Django, that joke, if you didn't, went over your head. But who's that on the nan? I'm on the nan. So at some point, there should have been a no there. So he should be reassigned based on the fact that he co-signed that move. Now, they also have a vacancy at head coach. and this is where I'm going to bring the question. I'm going to start with you, OJ. Now, I have my list of names and the type of coach I think they need. Give me a name of a coach that you would like to see them have, and don't say Phil Jackson, please. And the type of coach you think they need.
Type of coach I think they should get is Brian Shaw. I think he's ready. I think it's the common name, but I think he's ready. I think he's paid his dues, and I think a change of scenery from him he's in Indiana now, but coming from that Laker organization, I think it's a winning organization, and I think Brian Shaw
Why did the Lakers keep him?
Beats me. Jim Buss is running the team now.
Jim Buss is, people laugh. Let me tell you a question. If Jim Buss was running the Sixers, and we fell short in the playoffs, and the next season we walked in the door, we got Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Paul Gasol, Kobe Bryant. Would we say this is a fool?
No, not at all.
Exactly. So somewhere along the line,
I'm not a Steve Nash fan, so I would call him a fool.
Yeah, I'm not a Steve Nash fan either. But the point I'm trying to make is they replaced Razor Ramon. What is his name again? Ramon Sessions with it was a layup. Ramon Sessions with Steve Nash. That's a come up. So you mentioned Brian Shaw. Why did they not re-sign Brian? What do you think? Well, why do you suppose they didn't bring Brian Shaw on as head coach? Because Kobe wanted him.
Possibly he wasn't on board with the moves.
Could it be he's not a good coach?
No, they wanted to claim the daggone place of Phil Jackson. That's what it is.
It is Phil Jackson guy, right?
That's the damn point.
So you think it's because he was associated with Phil Jackson?
Yes.
There you go.
They wanted to bring Phil Jackson back.
No.
Told Phil no. When he brought in Mike Brown. This is true. I'm not making this up. This is true. When they brought in Mike Brown and they let Mike Brown go, it was because Dr. Buss was sick. Right before Dr. Buss passed. They gave Phil Jackson until Monday to make a decision, and they hired D'Antoni on a Saturday. So somewhere along the line there was a schism. But if they were willing to go back to Phil Jackson, this is all, we're speculating here. There has to be a reason why they went away from Brian Shaw. And there has to be a reason why Shaw did not get another head coaching job.
Same reason why a lot of guys don't get a shot. Patrick Ewing hasn't got a shot.
And he
Some guys are just getting passed over.
And he shouldn't.
What do you know about Patrick Ewing that makes you say he can't be a head coach?
Other than his unnecessary need to sweat profusely?
You know what I mean? You never know what kind of coach the guy's going to be.
Underachievers in the history of the game. And I'm a Georgetown dude through and through. I got into it with somebody else. Who felt Patrick Ewing was a good coach. Give me one player Patrick Ewing developed. Seriously, give me one player Patrick Ewing developed.
Dwight Howard couldn't tie his shoes and chew gum when he came to this league.
And he still can't. His offensive game is suspect at best.
It's better than what it was.
It's still bad, but it's better.
It's better than what it was.
So it's not horrific, it's just bad.
It's much better than what it was.
He made Yao Ming better, too.
Yes.
He made who?
Yao Ming. He coached at Houston, too, when Yao Ming came in the league.
So he made Yao Ming a better player. Same Yao Ming that got his shot tossed by Nate Robinson, right?
Bruh.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Hold on.
I didn't heard he was going to be a Hall of Famer, man.
You see a pattern here? You
talking about one player or we talking about a body of work?
We're talking about a guy who was known for being, I'm not going to say soft, but for being a European finesse player. And you're saying Patrick Ewing worked with him. His game, to me, was not all-star worthy. He was not a great player. He was not a good player. It was not that of a... The best player out of that draft was Amari Stoudemire. And he didn't go till 9th. So I'm not looking at Patrick Ewing and saying, okay, his resume is X, Y, Z. I'm looking at Patrick Ewing and saying he took a guy, Dwight Howard, who had some of the best, I don't want to say raw talent, but I'm going to say who has a lot of talent, and he couldn't develop him. Dwight Howard developed a hook shot in, 60 games in L.A. He didn't have one when he left Orlando. Couldn't hit a free throw when he left in Orlando.
His free throw percentage was actually better before he got to L.A.
It's because he played more games in Orlando. But if you look at it per season, it's about the same. It's about the same. He didn't get any better. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying about Patrick, but I don't think he's worthy of a head coaching position because he hasn't developed anybody. And he's been on the job. That's the biggest issue I have with him. And I'm going to ask you a question here.
Player development, as far as a one-on-one, is different from coaching a whole team. It's two different things. It's some guys that only get hired just to teach guys how to shoot, just to teach guys how to post up.
Exactly, but if I ask you to make
it's
pie,
two different things.
If I bring you into the kitchen to make pie and you burn the pie, why would I entrust you with cooking the whole meal? If you can't take care of what I ask you to do first, which is with assistant coaches, that's their job. You have an assistant coach's job. One of them is to scout. Another one is to go over, the nonsense, make sure this guy's woman is there, and another guy's job is to take care of the big men, small point guards and such. His job is to take care of the big men. Every place he's been, he's had some great muses to work with. They haven't. What was Yao Ming's patented move?
Turnaround jump shot over left or right shoulder. Where you been?
I disagree. I disagree completely.
Come on, bro.
I'm a Rockets fan.
Okay.
Come on, bro.
Yao Ming, before he got injured, he was on his way to a Hall of Fame career, like Brandon said. And he came into the league as a rookie. He wasn't afraid of Shaq. I mean, he played his best ball against
medal
Shaq.
for that.
So what? He played his best ball against Shaq his rookie season.
Okay, so he stepped up against Shaq, but there's
Marcin
30 other
Gortat
teams
pretty
in there.
good, ain't he?
I'm sorry?
Marcin Gortat.
Couldn't do
Martin
nothing.
Gortat is pretty good. He's
Oh,
a decent
all right.
player.
He couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, that's
Patrick Ewing worked with him
too.
as well.
He looked real good in Phoenix playing with Steve Nash. Didn't look that good in Orlando playing in minutes.
That's how he got the contract he got.
He got
What are you
traded.
talking
He got
about?
traded to Phoenix.
Yeah, you know
Because
what's
Dwight
about
Howard was out and
Oh
he
my-
played and he
Oh my
did his thing.
goodness.
That's why.
Where
He
you
got
been?
traded to Phoenix. He didn't get a contract, and he
He
got
got traded because of the few games that
He got
Howard
traded
was
for
out.
Vince Carter.
The games that Howard was out and Gortat came in and
Gortat
showed his act.
was one of
You
the
know?
best big men off the bench
He
during
was
his
a
time
7-footer. That's why Phoenix took him.
No, because he showed a lot of
Patrick Ewing
improvement.
developed him, man.
We can go back and forth on Patrick Ewing developing people, but I stand by this.
I wouldn't think of Patrick Ewing as on my short list of head coaches.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
I know
You
he's-
mentioned it.
No, I
I
said-
know he's worked
I
with
said
Dwight
he's-
Howard. He's worked with Yao Ming, but when you come to mind, okay, who you think would be the next best head coach? Patrick Ewing doesn't come to my head. So.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between being associated with somebody and developing someone. And I'll give you an example. Phil Jackson is not known as developing talent, is not known as taking a guy and making someone better. But someone who is known for that was Jim Clemens and Tex Winters.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
With the triangle.
Exactly.
And the defense, right.
That's something you want from your head coach or a prospective head coach. Now, you saying, okay, Patrick Ewing worked with this dude, worked with that dude. That doesn't necessarily mean he's solely responsible for him. Now, it looks better on his resume that he worked with the Van Gundys who haven't developed anybody. So I'll give you that argument. But I don't think Patrick Ewing, and you know, out of respect for him, I will do more research on the topic. But I don't see him cultivating any type of talent at all. And I look specifically, and you can't win an argument with if. So saying if Yao Ming stayed healthy, I can't
At the
give you
point that he
But-
was
when he
hurt,
was- when he
at
was
the
playing.
point he got hurt,
man, because half of Asia voted for him in the All-Star
I'm
game.
not talking about the All-Star vote. I'm talking about his game.
Look at his
I'm
stats.
talking
Look
about
at
his
numbers.
game.
He was an
His
inconsistent player.
He was not
Inconsistent
inconsistent.
What? He gave you the same 19 and 9 every damn night.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
no,
he did.
No,
You
he
kidding
didn't.
me?
No, he did.
Yeah.
We
Come
could
on,
look.
bro.
We could look that up. No,
Come
he didn't.
on, bro.
No, he didn't. Because I could think of
Are you
plenty. I could think of
serious?
plenty of games where he would have a big. In fact, when they had that 20+ game, what did they have, a 20+ game win streak a few years back?
Right,
Yeah.
22.
A 22 game win streak.
Now
He
the
wasn't
third in
even.
NBA history, right?
He wasn't even the best player in the win streak.
No, he got hurt. Dikembe Mutombo played the majority
But
of
that's
those
my
games.
point. That's my point. The
He was already doing
He
it.
ain't the best player. He wasn't playing.
Man, he played a part of the win streak, and then the team continued to roll without him. Your best player goes out, you flounder. Look at Orlando when Dwight Howard.
Tracy McGrady was
Tracy
still
McGrady
pretty
was
damn
there.
good at that time.
Okay. And
Tracy
Tracy
McGrady
McGrady.
wasn't
Like
okay.
you're countering with
I see your
BS.
point.
With
No, I
see your point.
excuses.
No, you're missing the point. You're giving me other reasons why they're winning, but yet you're telling me this guy was the reason why they were good. He was going to be a Hall of Famer. He was one of the best players on the team. They were good without him. He wasn't that impactful. That's my
Look
point.
at the team since he's not been there. They have not been good without him.
The whole team is gone.
Tracy McGrady was gone when he was still there.
The whole
So,
gamut of the team was going. And they weren't that good then. When they had Steve... We can go on and on about this. Let's move on. No, because we're going to go on and on about it. Let's move on. Mario Ellie is a guy that I think is worth a shot for a head coach for the Sixers. Not so much for player development, but because he mirrors the players that are on the team. What do you
Who's on
guys
the
think
team?
about that? Oh, the players on the team. We don't have an all-star. A true all-star. Drew Holiday's not an all-star. I'm talking about a true, legit go-to player. We have a bunch of team role players.
So you don't mean so much all-star, you mean more so superstar.
Yeah, well, we don't even have an all-star though.
Right.
But Mario Ellie is a guy who carved his niche. In fact, let me finish this and then we're going to take a quick break. Mario Ellie is a guy who carved his niche in the league by basically working hard and being good at everything and finding ways to fit and help the team work.
And played for some of the best coaches.
Yeah, I think he would be a guy. I'm going to give you two other names, but in fact, I'll give you those names now. And I want you to think about this before we go to break. Mario Ellie, I think, would be a good guy to come in here and teach these young guys how to play hard night in and night out. Another cat I like is Bill Laimbeer. All right, Bill Laimbeer is another guy who I think has won on every level he's at. Another guy who wasn't starring in the league but produced, won titles, and done things. And the last one I want to throw out, and I know you're going to get in a tizzy about this, so I'm not even going to look at you. Kenny Smith. I like Kenny Smith a lot as a coach.
TNT Kenny Smith?
Huh?
TNT
Kenny Smith. Hold on. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to let Brandon go ahead and get on the soapbox when we come back.
As far as numbers, he said that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're right. Welcome back to .ComSports. We had a little spirited discussion during the break. Brandon trying to back off his statements.
I'm not backing off of anything.
We'll continue Yao Ming later. Kenny Smith, though. I really, really, really like Kenny Smith as a coach. I want to get your feedback on it.
Does he? That's the question. I don't think he wants to coach.
No, he wants to coach.
I don't think he's not Mark Jackson. Let's put it that I don't think he has the same spirit that Mark Jackson has. I don't think he does.
Same type of career. Both of them.
I mean,
one of them was
He's
ever
a champion, though.
Player-wise, I mean, as far as players,
Champion
they were
doesn't make you a
coaches
good
on the
coach,
floor.
though.
I understand that, but
I get you.
Mark Jackson, he's a different type of guy. You could always just tell it about him. Kenny Smith is not the same type of guy.
I agree.
You think? You know,
Kenny Smith is a type of guy where, okay, he wasn't a superstar, but you know sometimes you have that retired player syndrome where I did it this way, and if nobody else does it my way, I'm not going to put up with it. He's that type of coach to me.
When it comes to coaches in sports and his former players, in my opinion, the better coaches are always guys that were role players
Average
or
guys,
marginal
right.
players, not even good. You know what I mean? Scotty Brooks played 10, 11 years, and he never really was good.
so you
Scotty
just
Brooks,
called Pat Ewing a marginal player, by the way, so New York is going to hate you. Go ahead.
I never said that. Don't pay attention to what he said.
That's what he said.
I never say
That's what he
that.
said. Good. They're going to hate you now.
You know what I mean? Scotty Brooks was a marginal player. Larry Brown played basketball, never was a star player.
Okay.
George Karl played,
Yeah.
never was a star. Kenny Smith, at one point, he was a first-round draft pick, had some decent seasons
second
earlier in
round,
his
yeah.
career,
Yeah,
but
with the Kings, yeah.
he was at his best as a spot-up shooter, defensive player, role player for the Rockets. You look at the camps that he holds, the AU teams that he coaches.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Development with high school guys that he works out.
Lamar Odom, Ron Artest come to mind off
Yeah.
the bat. Excuse me, Metta World
Eric
Peace.
Barkley.
Excuse me.
You know what I mean? It's a lot of guys that he's worked out with.
So what do you think of him as a coach?
I actually like the idea.
All right. I want for you to. I want to throw something out. If I brought in a person that said, I think this person has a high basketball IQ. They were coached by Dean Smith, Bill Russell, Rudy Tomjanovich. They won 2 championships with arguably the greatest, in my opinion, arguably the greatest center in the game. It's a toss-up between him and Russell. Would you then play with Michael Jordan, James Worthy? I can go on.
Perkins,
and on.
Brad Daugherty.
Would you consider this person a worthy basketball mind?
I'll give this to you. Also, Michael Jordan and Matt Doherty also played under Dean Smith too. That don't make them great coaches.
Oh,
But he
Michael
didn't
Jordan
get
was a superstar player.
But he raises a good point. But Kenny Smith was coached by Bill Russell and Rudy Tomjanovich.
He actually didn't get along with Bill Russell.
But he was coached by him.
And the other day, he talked about lessons that he learned from Bill Russell on TV.
And I want to say something. You threw Michael Jordan out. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make sure I look at the camera so you guys don't get lumped into this. Michael Jordan never ever should be confused as having a beautiful basketball mind. Okay, so to lump him into any conversation with people that have high basketball IQs, and I'm not saying he was dumb. For all the glue sniffers out there, I'm not saying he wasn't bright. What I'm saying is Larry Bird, high basketball IQ. Magic Johnson, high basketball IQ. Built winning teams because they identified players and pieces. Michael Jordan knew one way to play. He knew one way to do things. And if you didn't get in line with him, you didn't fly. So, now I'm bringing it back to you
I
guys.
think he had a high basketball IQ as a player, but not as
I don't think
a
he did.
personnel.
I think let me just say
The way he played was
he
textbook.
gambled. No, he didn't. Michael Jordan was a known gambler. Look, I'm telling you this as a coach. I'm not telling you this I'm telling you this as a coach, as a student assistant coach. All right, as an assistant coach. Never ever will you find a coach an honest coach. Now, Doug Collins will say it, but an honest coach who say Michael Jordan played the game. Michael Jordan would leave his man habitually to go get a weak shot block, a shot block on a 7-footer. That's not what.
And he's also one of the top 10 man defenders on the wing of all time.
That's not necessarily true because when they want
kidding me,
man, when they wanted to, we can have this conversation. When Phoenix,
the
when they
guy
played
was a lockdown man defender,
lockdown
his
defender.
whole career. Highlights. People are kidding me.
This Reggie Miller, Larry Bird roasting him. I'll do you one better.
Well,
Go back.
Who didn't Reggie Miller score on? Larry Bird scored on everybody. Don't give me he couldn't check Larry Bird or Reggie Miller.
He was a lockdown defender. Rich Richmond, it goes on and on. We could both raise our voices.
Come on.
Rich Richmond, it goes on and on. See, the notion is Michael Jordan was this great defender.
There's no notion. I was watching the game. There is no notion with
game one.
me.
Game one
of them boys that sit and say stuff that don't sit and watch.
Hold on. Game one of the NBA Finals.
Which year?
Magic Johnson, Los Angeles Lakers. Who did Magic Johnson take off the dribble to throw the ball over to Sam Perkins for a wide open 3? Can you answer the question?
So nobody never gets beaten off the dribble?
That's not the
You're
question.
not making any sense.
That's not the question. Can you answer the question?
You're not making any sense.
Who
Reeves gets beat. Deion Sanders gets beat.
We're not talking about quarterback. We're not talking about
man.
So are you going to answer the question or not?
I'm done.
Are you going to answer the question? Can you answer the question?
Who got beaten off the dribble? We obviously Jordan got beat off the dribble.
So game 2, what change did they make? What change did they make? Game 2.
Pippen.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. When Dan Marley was shooting the lights out on the Bulls, who did they take off of Dan Marley and put him on Richard Dumas? Who did they do that to?
On Richard Dumas?
Yes, they took Michael Jordan off of Dan Marley and put him on Richard Dumas because Dan Marley was lighting his behind up. Then you know who proceeded to light him up? Richard Dumas. That's why Jordan went on to score 50-some points because they would kill him. By the end of the series, he was sticking KJ.
Okay, and KJ was chopped liver? At that point in his career?
He's on his 3rd defender, man.
KJ was
He's on his 3rd defender.
He's on his chopped liver?
You know what? You're right. You're right. KJ was great. KJ was great. So they stuck Jordan on because KJ was killing him.
Was KJ chopped liver?
Brandon,
at that point, I was a Phoenix Suns fan, so I watched the series closely.
Kevin
Johnson was chopped liver.
Have I said anything?
So the game that he checked Richard Dumas, how many points did Dumas have that game? To your recollection, how much did he have?
You know what? How many points did he have when they took him off the damn
game?
Richard Dumas' game was getting off and up and down the court and slashing. That was his game. How many points
did he have in
game? And what was Dan Marley's game? He
just stood there and shot threes at that point.
And he was roasting him.
And you know the reason why? Because they had to double Barkley, and he had to come and help.
They didn't have to double Barkley.
Yeah, they had to double Barkley.
They didn't have to double Barkley, but Jordan, the double was coming from who? Who was the double coming from?
I'm done with this conversation,
Who was the double coming from?
I'm telling you, Jordan had the help.
No, it wasn't. It was Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. Horace Grant held him, and Scottie Pippen came down.
All right.
That's not what happened?
No, it's not.
That's not what. So let me get this right. They were taking a 6'6" Jordan.
I'm going to go back to the game tonight.
6'6" Jordan and bringing Jordan down to double on Barkley and leaving 6'8" Scottie Pippen with long arms, one of the best small forward defenders, one of the best defenders in the history of the game. And they didn't bring him down on the double team.
And at one point they had 3 of the best defenders of all time on one team. The Bulls did.
You're making a habit of not answering the question here. The question is a very simple question. You're telling me that Phil Jackson said we're going to bring Jordan down, who was covering Dan Marley, to leave Dan Marley open and allow him to come down and double on Barkley and not have Pippen do it. That's what you're telling me right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you look in the camera and say that.
Yeah.
Make sure
that's
you're
my
ready for the
recollection
email.
of it. That's
You're
my
being
recollection
You're
of
being
it.
more stubborn than the 3-legged
I'm
mule
not
right now.
I'm being stubborn.
And you know it.
And I never said that Pippen wasn't a better defender than Jordan. I never said that. I just said Jordan is one of the better on-ball defenders of all time.
Oh, what I will say about this is this. Jordan had incredible instincts. He was impeccably strong. But if you want to talk about on-the-ball defense, I would not say he was one of the best of all time.
Okay, well, Reggie Miller and Magic and everybody else that played with him and played against him.
I hate that argument because no player's ever going to say.
Yeah, they do.
And if that's the case,
Charles Barkley say who stinks all the time that he played with and against. Plenty of guys are honest about who they played against. I'll take Reggie Miller's opinion about who's a better defender than yours. You didn't play against Jordan.
I'll take Bill Russell's opinion in. If that's what you want, if you want to go player versus player, you got 11 rings on the side that says Jordan isn't the greatest of all time.
The greatest what?
The
greatest winner or player or individual player?
Defender.
Because individual
Oscar
player.
Robertson has said on more than one occasion he's overrated. We don't need to go player to player.
Who said Oscar Robertson's overrated?
Look.
Because the Celtics won a bunch of titles because they had 9
no.
Hall of Famers
No, that's
on one
not
team?
what I said. That's not what I said. What I said, Oscar Robertson has said on more than one occasion that Michael Jordan is overrated.
That's what he said?
Yes, the list of great
And that's
players.
his opinion.
Let me finish. The list of great players goes long and longer players who have said Michael Jordan is not great. And you have people who say he is great. You don't want to go to player debate because very rarely have you ever had Magic Johnson say anything about anybody negative outside of the Lakers. All right? Now, I will give you that. He has said that. And when I do interview Magic Johnson, the first question I'm going to ask him is, why the hell do you keep saying Michael Jordan was better than you? But that's not the point. The point isn't who said who was better. The point is I can give you, for a guy that people say, let's say he was the greatest defender of all time. I have because I've done articles on it.
I didn't say he was the greatest of all time.
I said one of. You said he was top 10, so that makes him one of. All right? One of the greatest defenders of all time. You have to be able to point to a time when he locked up one of the greatest scorers of all time. And you can never say Michael Jordan did that. I can point you occasion after occasion of when Michael Jordan got scoring, or whether it's something simple like Allen Iverson, you can say, well, this happened. Then I can say Mitch Richmond, well, this happened. I can say Larry Bird, this happened. But the point is, I can give you examples of people that didn't score on him once, didn't score on him twice, waited for him to come over, waited for him to get set, used his instincts, used his gambling. I can show you films of him throwing Patrick Ewing's shot into the stands. Everybody going,
everybody's seen that.
Everybody's seen it, but the point is, as a coach, that's not what you teach a guard to do. That's not what you teach a guard to do. You never see LeBron come over and get a weak side shot block because you never leave your man. That's an on-ball defender.
Bro, that's a complete lie. That's a complete lie because LeBron James' whole time in Cleveland, he made all defensive team for running guys down and helping and coming and blocking shots.
I said
that's
leaving your man. I said leaving your man and going
I'm
weak
telling
side
you, his whole
shot
time
block.
in Cleveland, that's what he did.
Running down somebody on the layup.
He didn't become a great elite defender until he got to Miami and Spoelstra pushed it on the team. What are you talking about?
That's not true, but I'm not. He
wasn't an elite defender in Cleveland.
You just said he made all defense.
I said from coming and I didn't say from man defense. I never thought he should have been all defense in Cleveland. I never said that.
We're gonna move on, and I'm gonna let other people get in the conversation. But basically, I want to make sure everybody understands specifically where your argument is. Michael Jordan is the top 10 on-ball defender of all time.
Yeah, okay. And that's what I'm sticking to it.
All right, well, you can stick to it. You know, people in prison that got blood on their hands and say they never did the murder. That's fine. And my opinion is he is not. So we're going to move on now. All right? Are you fine with that?
Yeah.
Okay. You know you're wrong, by the way. All right. Now, would you want to hire? I can't even come back from that. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk more NBA. Just give me one. One of those gotta matter. All right. ComSports, and we are back in a great basketball discussion here. I think Brandon may ride home with me. I don't know if he's mad at me, but
I ain't mad at you. Man. That's all love.
Nah, it's all up. Well, I'm not gonna lie. When you told me that Jordan didn't stick Dan Marley, I got a little upset there because I was a Phoenix Suns fan.
I was too. Barkley, my favorite player of all time.
Yeah, and you wanted to admit that Scottie Pippen was the one coming down and double team. It was in your eyes.
I'm gonna go back.
You see, he wanted to. It was in his eyes. He was like, "Damn."
Because at that point, I'm 12 years old. You know what I mean? When Paxson hit that shot, you know what I mean? I'm in the basement crying. So
you know why Paxson hit that shot too. That's when I stopped being a Barkley fan. You see, I put this video out there. Charles Barkley, why are you gambling on Scottie Pippen at the top of the key? What are you gonna do? You gonna go the length of the court on Jordan and Pippen? You gonna out dribble both of them and go?
Bro, don't remind me.
So he leaves him. Marley and Ainge come down. John Paxson wide open ball game, and this dude's on TNT talking about championships. As if he got 9 of them. Next topic. All right.
Great player though. Great all-time player though.
The further he gets away from playing, the madder I get at him.
Charles?
Yeah, the other day they showed a foot. I don't want to argue. I just got to throw this out there.
We going back on basketball.
I just got to throw this out there. The other day I said, I don't think I ever lost by 31 points in a playoff game. And I was like, I believe Houston caught you by 30 in back-to-back games one year, and it was 20. But they found the footage of Houston beating them by 30.
Yeah, and then but Kenny Smith was like, yeah, but you did roast us.
Yeah, the
in
next
the game.
game.
After, I think Barkley had like 40 and 20.
So yeah, but he always forgets his days as
do.
a player. like he was Bill Russell out there. Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Wilt all rolled in one. All right, now we're pushed up here. I want to throw a couple questions out there before we just jump right into it. I'll start with you, OJ.
Right.
Russell Westbrook. Just the whole thing. Just what are your opinions on the whole thing, from the injury, from the play, the injury, and the way the Thunder have handled it?
They'll be fine with this against Houston.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably close it out, Game 5. But they're going to miss him down the line, and they're going to miss him. A lot of people don't want to admit that they're going to miss Russell Westbrook, but they're going to miss him, and they certainly can. Let's just assume they go to the finals again against Miami Heat. That's not a foregone conclusion anymore. Not at all.
I don't think, let me throw it to you, Daniel. I want to talk specifically about the injury that occurred and the play that. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about that play? You think it was a dirty play? You think it was just basketball? It was unnecessary? What are your sentiments on it?
I think it was a regular play. I mean, you see countless times, teams coming down and call a timeout. They don't always do it. And sometimes you gamble because you see them doing it, so you just go and try to do it. I've seen it happen many a time. So I don't think it was a dirty play at all.
Playoff
You think it was
I've seen it
unnecessary?
happen.
You think
playoff
it was
It's always
basketball.
necessary. It's the playoffs. It's necessary in the regular
Bring it up
season.
a notch.
If that's the
Playoff
person that you
basketball.
are, if you play and give 100% nonstop
You know
when
what I
you're on the
know.
court, you're going to do it. It wasn't a dirty play. I've seen it happen.
I mean, Patrick Beverly's not a player who can not give it all. Guy played in Russia and Italy and a couple other places before. But me, honestly,
Thank you.
when you come in, the guy ready to call a timeout, do you got to run in there and
Thank
try
you.
to take it? You can come up to him and get in front of him,
Thank
but
you.
you don't have to reach. It was a freak injury. I mean, it's messed up because OKC might not make it out of the West because of this.
Might not.
I don't
Might
think they
not
got
make it out.
Russell Westbrook, I said it earlier. I stole that Django line. I won't say it again. But Russell Westbrook, to me, was the heart of that team.
I agree.
I have come around on Kevin Durant. It was tough for me to root for a player that had more turnovers than assists every year they've been in the league. But I've come around on Kevin Durant. I still believe he'll be the greatest scorer. Should he stay healthy, he'll be the greatest scorer ever. But I never thought. Some people like to say it's that dog. I don't believe in the dog. I just think he's more Dominique Wilkins and George Gervin than he is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Magic Johnson. I don't think he has that championship go-getter attitude in him. I think he plays the game, not the score. I think Westbrook plays the score. I think Westbrook looks, okay, we're down by 2. I need to go up a notch. I think that's why Kevin Durant is so clutch, because every possession is the same to him. It's not like, okay, it's 1 second left, we're down by 1. I think
whatever to him.
Exactly. And
I
not
mean,
whatever
I'm gonna
like he
take this
doesn't.
No, this is like whether it's
Exactly.
first quarter or
Human
2
nature,
seconds, I'm going to take this shot and I know I can make
Play the
these
same
shots.
way, right.
A coach said to me once that watched Rasheed Wallace when he was in high school. And he said the thing that separated Rasheed from so many players, because you remember Rasheed played with Aaron McKee. Kobe, I think, was a junior that year out here when he was at Lower Merion. I think it was Donnie Carr. For real, we're going way back. Donnie
Right.
Carr was out there. He said Rasheed Wallace would sell his mother for a rebound in the fourth quarter. That was his mentality. Rasheed went on to have great success, played in the NBA Finals. Portland team that had like 5 or 6 years where they were in the Western Conference 50s. Kevin Durant doesn't have that mentality. Russell Westbrook does. I think losing Westbrook's going to hurt them, not just this season, but I think now Westbrook's going to see his worth, and now he's not going to be the same guy that's willing to listen to people say, give the ball to Durant. Daniel, what do you feel about that?
I mean, he wasn't going to listen anyway. He was going to continue shooting because that's who like you said, he has that mentality. He says, he knows I'm more explosive than whoever's sticking me any given night. And I can get any shot I want, anytime I want. And he does it. I mean, I wrote an article about him. I talk about him a lot. I hate the fact that, he shoots more shots than Kevin Durant on a nightly basis. I hate that. But at the same time, Durant doesn't have that killer instinct. He doesn't have that killer mentality to say, yo, give me the ball. I'm going to take it. Just give me the ball. He don't do that. Mm-hmm. And, they need more than one person to score for that team. And Westbrook, obviously, is a big part of that team. But
could only be one line in the jungle, though.
Exactly, and Kevin Durant should be that guy, but he doesn't have that in him. Maybe he needs it. Maybe he needs similar thing with with LeBron and Cleveland when they got swept by the Spurs. Mm-hmm. He came back. He worked on some things, but he still wasn't there yet. Last year OKC was in the finals. They lost. You know, Durant went out and worked with LeBron. You know, he worked on his game.
Mm.
You know, he came back. He's a little better. I mean, he's always better. He can work on things, but he's always going to get better because he's just still growing. But I think probably the next year or so, he's going to realize that he needs to have that mentality. And I don't think Westbrook is going to be on a team in 2 years.
That's the point I was getting at. Brandon, jump in there.
I mean, Westbrook, as far as attitude-wise as a player, is different, and he's just a killer.
Yeah.
It's nothing more I can say. Like, Kobe was a killer. Kobe willing to take shots, impose his will in the game. Like, Westbrook is just willing to come down and just go at the guy that's guarding him, get a foul. He knows he can get to the rim at any time and finish. He's just that good athletically.
People like to say Westbrook won't give the ball to Durant or won't. You never hear Durant won't give the ball to Westbrook.
Right.
Like
You'll never hear that.
That monkey never comes out of the box.
Right.
Like I'm gonna get that damn ball. You know what I mean? If I gotta rebound it myself, I'm gonna get the ball.
Yeah.
Which he does.
It just seems like, and OJ, I'm gonna throw this to you to close this one off, and then we're gonna talk a little bit of Lakers. It just seems like this is creating. It's kind of like the horse. I'm trying to think of the phrase, but basically it's out. The horse is out of the barn.
Right.
Westbrook is going to see his worth, and he's going to want out now because he wants his own team. Do you think that's going to happen here?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I agree with what Dan said. He sees his worth, and in the next couple of years, he probably won't be in Oklahoma City. I mean, look, if you were really paying attention, you could have had that foresight even last year, what you saw in the NBA Finals. Again, you know, it wasn't so much that giving the Miami Heat credit, everybody blamed on Russell Westbrook. What? Oh, he shoots too much.
Yeah.
He takes away from Durant. But yeah, you're going to see his worth, and you're going to see him emerge as one of the greater players in the league, just because he's away from Oklahoma City.
And I don't think it's going to be like a Marbury Garnett situation where if Marbury didn't have that ego where he wanted to break away, they had a chance to be great. You know what I mean? Be great for some years, but
they might have been good. I don't know if they were great.
Possibly they had
The
a chance.
potential was
Like
there.
the potential, the future looked good at one point with them two playing together, but Marbury wanted to be the man, and they ended up having to trade him. Westbrook at this point, is a better player than Marbury was decent.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. Westbrook is damn good. Now, Marbury wasn't no slouch
at
his prime, but Westbrook is
on both ends of the court.
Exactly. Westbrook is amazing, man. And people hate him
because they
like Durant.
Exactly.
That's anti-Durant.
If Westbrook had his own team and was doing the same stuff, Westbrook that bull.
Yeah.
That'd be the line.
My father told me once, if whenever there's a hero, there's always got to be a villain. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to use that to transition to a topic. We're pushed against the break, although we can go a little over because this is my show. However, I'll play the push against the break game. I'm going to start with you, Dan. We're going to come down the line. There's a story that came out about a player announcing to the world he's gay. I have my opinions on it. And welcome back to ComSports. We're going to end the segment talking about Jason Collins. Why do I care if Jason Collins is gay, Daniel?
You don't. I don't. I don't care. No one cares. I mean, you got players that's going to be uncomfortable knowing that somebody is gay that's in the same stall with him, same locker room with him. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I mean, just think of him all these years lying to himself and just acting a fool, out with his, you just not real. You're not real with yourself. Like, being happy with yourself is the most important thing to me. And at the end of the day, only God can judge me. And that's my mentality on life. And I don't want to be unhappy about anything. So I don't care.
Brandon, why do we care that Jason Collins is gay?
I mean, we honestly don't. But for his sake, his personal, he was tired of being who he wasn't and hiding from everyone else. And, I can understand the scrutiny and the reason why, people that are lesbians or gays, they feel as though, he felt as though he couldn't tell his twin brother. And he knew, I read the article, he knew, he was wondering when he was 12 years old why his brother was feeling these girls, and you know what I mean, I wasn't feeling them. You know what I mean? It took him all these years to tell his twin brother who he shared the womb with. So if he couldn't tell his brother, he damn sure wasn't going to come out and tell teammates and stuff. Do we honestly care? Does it matter to me? No. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? You do what you do. I do what I do. I believe what I believe in. Like, I don't judge anybody. It's not for me to do because I've never been perfect a day in my life. Yeah. I've came so far as a person for me to go ahead and say, oh, you wrong for liking what you like or doing what you doing. So, you know what I mean? Every team he's ever played for, I've heard great teammate, great guy.
Yeah, well, you're gonna hear that now. No one's gonna say, "Yo, that dude owes me like $5 from a domino game." Like nobody's gonna say that.
Even before this, I mean, he's not that good of a player. You stick around for a while
because you're 7 feet. Yeah,
a-holes that can't play.
Like 19, well, yeah.
A-holes that can't play don't make teams. You know what I mean? If you a marginal guy, you'll stick around, man.
OJ, why does the media think we care?
Well, something you said off air that we talked about beforehand it's sort of like you won't say it, but I'll say it's sort of like a witch hunt. Yeah. I think they're waiting. They're waiting to see.
I'm gonna say it when you
not so much Jason Collins. They're waiting for the bombshell to drop. Who's going to be that superstar that comes out of the closet? But I'm more so. Again, you know, most of us don't even care whether he's gay or not, whether he came out. But I just think I'm very cynical on how the story was written, when it came out, how it came out, and how they went about it. It's no coincidence that he's now a free agent, 10 years in the league.
Yeah.
And I think, it's 50-50 whether he'll get another contract again, whether he revealed that he was gay or not. So in that aspect, I'm a little bit cynical of the whole thing.
You know, I'm going to end it this way. We spend $50, $60 on getting a Carfax. What's the Carfax? And that's for a $15,000 to $20,000 investment. I'm an owner. I'm investing millions into you. You think I don't know you're gay? I'll do you one better. I share a locker room with you for 5 seasons. Players have said this time and time again. We know players that are gay. The only people who seem fixated on this is the media. And not every media, MediaTakeout.com, websites, they seem to know who's gay, who's not gay. It's not an issue. But it seems the media that has 45, 50-year-old anchors, 45, 50-year-old pundits, who's claim to be in the know or in the winds with the current culture, seem to be fixated on knowing who's gay. They seem to be seeking everybody out. It's like a witch hunt. So now that they know Jason, now that they've gotten somebody to come to them and say, you know what, I'm gay. What's the next move? Now it has to be a star player. Let me tell you something. Newsflash, my 45 and 50-year-old brethren in the industry. We know. We're 30, 20. We've gone to college, high school, brothers, sisters, cousins, people who are gay. We don't care. Stop making stories of something that isn't a story. Judge a person by their character, not by their sexual orientation. If a person is gay, that's their business. Don't force them to come out. Don't ask them to come out. If they want to wear a dress in public, that's a story. But if they're gay and living their life, don't force them to come out. We don't care. It's a non-issue. Just because it didn't happen in 1960, it's 2013? It's a non-issue now. On that, make sure you go to the website if you miss any portion of me educating Brandon on basketball or having Daniel tell me Yao Ming was a good player. Or OJ, I don't even know what craziness OJ said to me today. Make sure you go to the website, .comsportstv.com. You can check the website out. We got 4 episodes in the book. We will hit the airways May 6th. 6 p.m. in Philadelphia. Make sure you check us out. As always, for Daniel Trowick, Brandon Pemberton, and OJ Spivey, I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones, and we appreciate your time of year. You be easy.
So let me hear you say yeah.
Yeah. No rain, no thunder. Everything's like summer. The storm is over. Today is your day. No pain, no problems. Another day's been offered. Don't have to worry about a thing. Today is your day.
Out of the bed, get the stretching and yawning. Down on my knees, give thanks for the morning. A new day, yesterday, stresses are gonna. I ain't got to deal with drama no longer.